Good morning, Bucknutters. It's Thursday, December 8th, 2016. I'm Dan Rubin. This is the Bucknuts Morning 5 and Change, joined by 24/7 Sports Director of Recruiting, Steve Wiltfong. Fresh back from a trip down to Mississippi for some spectacular all-star game. What exactly were you down there for?
I was in Montgomery, Alabama for the Alabama-Mississippi all-star game, and I'll tell you what, man, there's a lot of talent down there. A lot of that's a fertile area to go recruit. There's, I saw a kid. If I'm a Purdue, if I'm in Illinois, I'm trying to go in there and get the guys that are left over because you can win with those guys.
Yeah, there's no question the South is very fertile for recruiting. The Buckeyes will only take the tops. Speaking of which, I don't know if you call it the South technically, but what Ohio State has done in Texas is nothing short of amazing. We have not spoken to Steve since Baron Browning pulled the trigger for the Buckeyes. Your view of the home stretch there and what exactly Ohio State's getting in Browning, a guy you've seen plenty of.
Oh, man, I mean, this is one of the prospects with some of the most upside in America. When you start talking about Baron Browning, he is a freak athlete at 6'3", 230 pounds. There's not anything he can't do at the linebacker position. He can be a presence rushing the passer. He's got the skill set to be good against the run. He certainly can cover in space. Looks like a safety out there in coverage. Just a fantastic prospect and a guy that these are the kind of guys that make you a national championship contender. And Baron Browning's a unique player in the 2017 class. Ohio State in on a bunch of unique players, Baron Browning, Chase Young, J.K. Dobbins. Those are guys that you can win crystal balls with. And Baron, he's just so fast, Dan. I mean, he's just an elite player.
Yeah, he's something special. He's definitely someone you want to watch on tape.
But yeah, that's a hell of a recruiting win. It's a hell of a recruiting win because
no doubt.
You go. I didn't mean to cut you off. Alabama led going into the Ohio State visit. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind. And Alabama put up a good fight even during the week after the Ohio State visit with the in-homes. And I know Barron was torn. And as we reported, Ohio State probably needed to seal him up that night, which was a week ago today. And if they did, it would, he would be a Buckeye. If not, they'd have a battle on their hands. And Urban Meyer and company were able to close the deal and get Barron in the fold. And just a hellacious class right now.
No, it's incredible to go into Texas and pull out a guy like that makes it even more impressive. I'm sure we'll have a show at some point here about how the life expectancy on recruits in Texas for Ohio State's probably dwindling with Tom Herman now getting to plant the flag. But I want to talk about another Texas recruit, and that is Marvin Wilson, the 6'4", 300, and let's check the scale today, defensive tackle. I've said this many times. It's really the only thing Urban Meyer and company have not done since they've arrived in Columbus is bag the top huge 320-plus defensive tackle. If you look at the last, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 most recent crystal ball changes to Marvin Wilson's profile here. It's Ohio State foggy, Ohio State foggy. You're one of the foggies, by the way. How excited
I am a
is
foggy.
Ohio State? Yeah, in general. But about this specifically, how excited do you think Ohio State should be about Marvin Wilson? Should I get my hopes up? What do you think?
Well, the difference between Baron Browning, Jeffrey Okudah, J.K. Dobbins, and Marvin Wilson is that Ohio State instantly was a top contender for the other three. And with Marvin, they'd kind of entered the picture late. So I'm not ready to put him in Ohio State's class. I think the interest is legitimate, as Bill Kurlick reported this morning. Urban Meyer, this is going to go the distance. So Urban Meyer is going to save his in-home for late. Texas and LSU, Texas A&M, those are three programs that I think have an outstanding shot to land him as well, maybe more so LSU and Texas A&M. So we'll just see. I asked Marvin's coach if distance was going to be an issue after the Ohio State visit. He said no. But you still have to overcome it. And again, Ohio State is a late challenger for him. That doesn't mean I'm ruling him out, but it is different than with Browning, Okudah, and Dobbins.
Yeah. I mean, I have to say, even as I look at this, I'm not super confident on it. And it does seem like as more and more top-level recruits come off the board, the focus intensifies for the ones left. And the fact that he's in Texas, I just think it's going to make it almost impossible to bring him in. It would be nice for them to get Marvin Wilson or Tufele, but even though there's
feel
some
good
other
about
confidence
Tufele right now. I haven't crystallized that one yet, but I think they're in it. I think they're a finalist. I've been in the Alabama-Mississippi game for 3 days, so I don't know if there was a development I missed from Monday to Wednesday, and sometimes that happens. Sometimes I'm late to the crystal ball party on kids if I'm traveling. But I think Tufele has great respect for the Ohio State program. I know he had a great visit. I know he's never had a game experience like he had because he told me that and I wrote it. Ohio State's not going to relent on their pursuit. So the question is, does Tufele see himself in the Pac-12 or the Big Ten? That I'm not sure of, so that's why I haven't crystal balled it. But why not Ohio State? I think that they have a great shot. He said so many great things about Larry Johnson, and obviously Urban Meyer has a great rapport with the people in the state of Utah for what he's done in that state as a football coach, and then afterwards. So why not? What are you hearing? You're almost talking me out of it.
No, it's just the further we go. I'm just from 20,000 feet. The further we go with big defensive tackles down the stretch, those guys don't tend to come here. I'm just basing. There's all those big, huge guys are always the ones who hold out for long.
Right.
And I guess I'm just scarred by seeing them all go to LSU.
No question. But again, the difference between Tufele and Marvin, and hey, Marvin may end up at Ohio State. I'm not trying to tell the Bucknuts listeners that he's not going to end up there because Ohio State's a finalist, and I believe that's legit. But Tufele's had Ohio State in his lead group, at least going back to the opening, probably a lot longer than that. But I definitely remember him listing Ohio State as a leader in July, as one of his top schools in July. So his mind's been on Ohio State for a long time, and his relationship with Ohio State has been consistent. And Ohio State's going to ratchet it up down the stretch here. Ohio State beats Clemson. Now you're in the championship game, probably against Alabama. And this is an exciting time for Ohio State as a football program, and that carries over to the recruiting trail.
Yes, it is an exciting time. And what happens when you have this kind of success, I know, when is it not? But what happens when you have this kind of success is other people want a piece of it. There is a very prevalent rumor out there that Luke Fickell will go to Cincinnati to become head coach and bring Cincinnati high school coach, formerly Kerry Coombs, along with him as his defensive coordinator. I ask you this because this, let's say, rumor or a bit of information has been promulgated by Dan Dockich, the basketball analyst, Big Ten, aficionado, who does a daytime show in Indianapolis, or at least he used to.
No, he still does. Most listened show here in town, and I love the show, man. It's good straight talk, good adult male conversation.
Yeah.
He's got.
Hold on a sec. Well, Dockett calls it straight. I'll give him that. I mean, he doesn't mince words. Now, he's not always correct. He said he thought P.J. Fleck was getting the job earlier. But do you think there could be some legs to the Fickell-Coombs rumor just because of who Dockich is? I mean, we all should know that Dockich and Herb did coach together at Bowling Green.
He's got as well-placed a source as anyone on the Ohio State staff, So did he get it from Coach Meyer? That's what I have to believe. But who knows, you know. I know Coach Dockich is a friend of the Ohio State program. I know he pulls for Urban Meyer and his team every Saturday. And for him to put that out there, I can't imagine he was doing it as a joke, you know. So
yeah,
you got to feel good about that. And obviously Coach Fickell has been in the mix for some head coaching jobs before. So if he gets it, it's exciting for him. That's a place where many people have won double-digit games consistently, so it's a great job. Kerry Coombs was another name that was in the mix for the head job. I mean, you really could have put like 5 guys from Ohio State staff in the mix for that job because there's that many guys that are probably head coach candidates right now this year. And then you'll probably have a couple more down the road. So I think Tony Alford could be a head coach at some point also. So they got a lot of future head coaches being groomed right now in Columbus. And, I mean, Luke Fickell makes sense to me for a bunch of reasons. He certainly knows how to recruit the state, already has all the relationships with the high school coaches. And at Cincinnati, you win big with the guys that, you know, Ohio State, Michigan, and Michigan State pass on. There's still so much talent, so much hard-nosed players. You know, you recruit well in Ohio, you recruit well in Florida. If you're the Bearcats, you can win a lot, and Coach Fickell has a background in both of those states.
And if you look, that's been a lily pad job on to even bigger gigs with Mark D'Antonio, Brian Kelly, Butch Jones. So the lineage is there. We appreciate Steve stopping by. Keep it locked in here, Bucknuts. There's a lot going on, and we will break it when it happens.